You already know you need to walk away. You have known for months, maybe years. You have rehearsed the conversation. You have imagined the freedom. You have told yourself, this time, I will actually do it. And then something happens. They say something kind. Or they need you. Or the guilt arrives heavy and familiar and you stay. Again. Here is what nobody tells you about walking away from a toxic relationship, a toxic person, or a toxic situation. The problem is never that you do not know you need to leave. The problem is that walking away feels like abandonment. Like failure. Like something is wrong with you for needing to go. Marcus Aurelius walked away from people, situations, and relationships his entire life. Not dramatically. Not with speeches or confrontations. Silently. Completely. Without guilt. And he left us the exact system he used. In the next 25 minutes, I am going to give you that system, every step, every phrase, every decision, so that when you walk away clean. Not angry. Not guilty. Not looking back. Free. Welcome to Memento, Sapiens, ancient wisdom for the modern mind. Today we go into the territory that most people avoid, not because they do not want to walk away, but because they do not know how to do it without destroying themselves in the process. Letting go. Walking away. Moving on. These phrases are everywhere. But the actual system, the precise, step-by-step process for walking away from a toxic person without guilt, without regret, and without the wound reopening every time you see them, that is almost never explained. Marcus Aurelius built that system over 20 years of walking away from people who were destroying his peace, his energy, and his ability to lead. And it works differently from everything you have been told. This is the Stoic art of walking away. Part 1. The real reason walking away feels impossible and why it has nothing to do with weakness. Most people believe that the reason they cannot walk away from a toxic relationship is because they love the person too much, or because they are too weak, or because they have invested too much to leave now. Marcus Aurelius would say, none of those are the real reason. The real reason walking away feels impossible is because of a specific psychological mechanism the Stoics identified 2,000 years ago. They called it the attachment to the version. You are not attached to the person as they actually are: manipulative, draining, toxic, harmful. You are attached to the version of that person you believed existed. The version you saw at the beginning. The version you keep hoping will return. The version that appeared briefly between the difficult moments and made all of it seem worth enduring. That version, the one you were waiting for, is what makes walking away feel like loss. Not the loss of who they are. The loss of who you thought they were. And here is the most important insight in this entire video. You cannot walk away from a person you have never fully seen. Before you can let go, you have to grieve the version. Not the person as they are, the person as you needed them to be. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. He is telling us the sequence. First, stabilize. Second, see clearly. Most people try to walk away while still seeing the version they wanted, not the person that exists. And so they walk 3 steps and come back. Walk and come back. Walk and come back. The guilt they feel is not about the other person. It is grief for the version they are finally accepting does not exist. When you understand this, walking away becomes completely different. You are not abandoning someone who loves you. You are releasing yourself from a relationship that exists primarily in your imagination. That is not cruelty. That is clarity. The practice: before you attempt to walk away, spend 5 minutes writing down exactly who this person actually is, based only on their consistent behavior over the last 6 months. Not their words. Their behavior. That list is who you are walking away from. Not the version. The reality. And the reality, when you see it clearly, almost always confirms that walking away is not abandonment. It is self-preservation. Part 2. Guilt, the mechanism that keeps you trapped, and the Stoic method for dismantling it. Guilt is the primary reason most people cannot walk away from toxic relationships. And it is almost always manufactured. Let me explain what I mean by manufactured guilt. Genuine guilt is what you feel when you have violated your own values. When you have done something that contradicts who you are. Manufactured guilt is what a toxic person installs in you deliberately or instinctively to keep you from leaving. It sounds like this. After everything I have done for you, you are the only person who understands me. If you leave, I do not know what I will do. I thought you were different from everyone else. These phrases are not expressions of pain. They are anchors. They are designed, consciously or not, to make your departure feel like an act of violence against someone vulnerable. Marcus Aurelius identified this mechanism precisely. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous and surly, because they cannot tell good from evil." He is not being cynical. He is removing the element of surprise. When you understand that manufacturing guilt is one of the primary tools of a person who cannot keep people close through genuine connection, the guilt loses its power. Because you can name it. And what you can name, you are no longer inside of. Here is the Stoic test for guilt. Ask yourself, am I leaving because I want to harm this person or because I need to protect myself? If the answer is the second, the guilt you are feeling is not yours. It was given to you. And you have the right to give it back. Marcus Aurelius walked away from advisors, generals, and family members who had served him loyally because continuing the relationship was destroying his ability to lead, think, and be the person he had committed to being. He did not feel guilty. He felt clear. And clarity, in the Stoic tradition, is the highest form of respect both for yourself and for the other person. Because pretending a relationship is working when it is not to avoid the discomfort of leaving is not kindness. It is a lie. Delivered slowly. To both of you. Walking away honestly, when a relationship has truly ended, is the most dignified thing you can do. For yourself. And for them. Part 3. The 3 types of walking away and how to know which one you need. Marcus Aurelius did not have one response to toxic relationships. He had 3, each appropriate for a different level of toxicity and a different type of relationship. Most people use the wrong type. And that is why walking away often does not work, or creates more damage than the original relationship. Type 1, the gradual reduction. This is for relationships where complete removal is not possible or not yet appropriate. A colleague, a distant family member, a neighbor. Someone you cannot cut off immediately without significant social or practical consequences. The gradual reduction is not avoidance. It is a deliberate, consistent reduction in emotional investment, time, and access, without announcement, without drama, without explanation. You stop sharing personal information. You keep interactions brief and functional. You stop responding to emotional bids with emotional engagement. Marcus Aurelius used this with senators he had identified as draining. He maintained professional contact while systematically reducing personal access. His principle, confine yourself to the present. Applied to relationships, this means, be present for what is necessary. Nothing more. Type 2, the clean break. This is for relationships where the toxicity is severe enough that any continued contact delays healing and enables harm. A romantic partner, a close friend, or a family member whose behavior consistently crosses your fundamental limits. The clean break is not an explosion. It is a decision. It does not require a final conversation, a long explanation, or a confrontation designed to make the other person understand. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be." Be one. Applied here, waste no more time explaining why you are leaving. Leave. The clean break is executed by stopping, not by announcing the stopping. Stopping the calls. Stopping the texts. Stopping the emotional labor. Stopping the relationship with your actions, not your words. Words invite negotiation. Actions end conversations. Type 3, the Stoic presence. This is the most advanced and most misunderstood type. It is for situations where walking away physically is not possible, a parent you must see at family events, a co-worker you cannot avoid, an ex with whom you share children. The Stoic presence means, I am physically here. I am emotionally elsewhere. It is the ability to be in the room with someone without being affected by them. To respond to what is functionally necessary, and nothing more. To maintain complete internal distance while fulfilling whatever external obligations the situation requires. This is not coldness. This is the highest level of Stoic practice. Marcus Aurelius used this daily, sitting beside people he had decided were no longer part of his inner world, maintaining all necessary functions of the relationship, without giving them access to his peace. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The Stoic presence is the living practice of that principle. The question for you, which type of walking away does your situation require? Be honest. The wrong type, attempting a clean break when gradual reduction is more appropriate, or practicing Stoic presence when a clean break is necessary, will cost you months of unnecessary pain. Part 4. The complete Stoic Walking Away System, 7 steps in exact order. Step 1, decide with your behavior, not with your words. The most common mistake when walking away is announcing it. I am done. This is the last time. I need space. Every announcement is an invitation for the other person to respond, to negotiate, to guilt, to appeal. And you are still vulnerable enough to be moved by those responses. Marcus Aurelius never announced his withdrawals. He simply withdrew. His behavior communicated everything. His words communicated nothing. Decide. Then act. In that order. Without the announcement in between. Step 2, accept that the other person will not understand. This is the step most people skip, and it costs them the most. When you walk away from a toxic person, they will almost never understand why. They will interpret your departure as abandonment, as cruelty, as confirmation of their worst fears about themselves. And part of you will want to stay and explain. To make them understand. To help them see what you see. That impulse, however compassionate it feels, is the relationship pulling you back in. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change. For I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." He is describing someone who is open to being corrected by reason. A toxic person who guilt trips you for leaving is not offering reason. They are offering pressure. You do not owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. Step 3, identify your re-entry points and close them. Re-entry points are the specific situations, emotions, or behaviors that pull you back into the relationship you have decided to leave. They are almost always predictable. The late-night message when they know you are vulnerable. The anniversary they remember. The crisis they manufacture precisely when you are strongest in your decision to leave. Make a list of your specific re-entry points. Then decide in advance, before they arise, exactly what you will do when they appear. Marcus Aurelius practiced this as premeditation of difficulty, deciding in advance how you will respond to foreseeable challenges, so that when they arrive, you respond from your decision, not from the moment's emotion. Step 4. Grieve completely before you leave, not after. This is the Stoic insight that changes everything about walking away. Most people try to walk away and grieve simultaneously. They leave and then spend months in the grief of what they lost, which keeps the connection alive long after the physical departure. The Stoics recommended a different sequence. Grieve first. Fully. Privately. Let yourself feel the loss of the version, the loss of the future you imagined, the loss of the relationship as it could have been. And then leave. From a place of completion, not of escape. When you grieve before you go, you carry less with you when you leave. Step 5. Replace the space, not the person. When you remove a toxic relationship, you create a space. And that space, if left empty, will be filled by the same type of relationship because your patterns remain unchanged. Marcus Aurelius was deliberate about who and what he brought closer when he moved someone away. He wrote about seeking out people whose example improved him, moving toward virtue, not just away from toxicity. Do not rush to fill the space, but be intentional about what you allow into it. Step 6. Expect the pull and prepare for it specifically. The pull will come. Not once. Repeatedly. And almost always when you are most tired, most vulnerable, most isolated. It will feel like compassion. Like missing them. Like maybe you were wrong about how bad it really was. This is not love. This is neurological habituation, the brain craving the familiar, regardless of whether the familiar was good for you. Marcus Aurelius prepared for this daily. Every morning, reminding himself of who he had decided to be and what he had decided to protect. Your preparation is simple. Write down, in one sentence, why you walked away. Keep it somewhere you can read it when the pull arrives. Not a list of grievances. One sentence. Your reason. Your truth. Read it when the pull comes. Before you respond to anything. Step 7. Return to yourself as the destination. This is the step most walking away advice never reaches. Walking away is not the destination. It is the beginning of a journey back to yourself, to your values, to the version of you that existed before the toxic relationship began reshaping you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Return to yourself. Do not be pulled in all directions. Whoever you are, whatever you do, go back to yourself." The goal of walking away is not freedom from them. It is freedom for you. For the life you have been postponing. For the energy you have been redirecting. For the person you stopped being somewhere in the middle of that relationship. That person is still there. The walking away is how you find them again. Part 5. The thing Marcus Aurelius never said about walking away and what it means for you. In 20 years of meditations, in hundreds of entries about difficult people and toxic relationships, Marcus Aurelius never once wrote the words "walk away." That absence is not an accident. Because the Stoics did not frame the departure as the act. They framed what you walk toward. Every time Marcus Aurelius moved away from a person or situation that was destroying his peace, he wrote not about the leaving but about the returning. Returning to his values. Returning to his purpose. Returning to the version of himself that existed before the drain. Return to yourself. He wrote this more than almost any other instruction in the meditations. This reframe is everything. When you think of walking away as a departure, you carry the weight of what you left. The guilt. The doubt. The question of whether you made the right choice. When you think of it as a return, you carry something different. Direction. Purpose. The recognition that you are not running from something. You are walking toward yourself. And that changes how you experience every step of the process. The guilt fades. Because you are not abandoning someone. You are reclaiming yourself. The doubt fades. Because the destination, you, at your best, living according to your values, is something you can trust completely. The looking back fades. Because what is behind you is not what you wanted. What is ahead of you is. Marcus Aurelius walked away from his co-emperor, from trusted advisors, from people he had loved. And in every case, the meditations record not grief or guilt, but clarity. The clarity of a man who knew exactly where he was going. Back to himself. That is the ultimate Stoic art of walking away. Not the act of leaving. The decision about who you are returning to. Part 6. 5 real scenarios and the exact Stoic response for each. Scenario 1: walking away from a narcissistic partner. The specific challenge: they will use every emotional tool available, love, guilt, pity, anger, to pull you back. And they will time it precisely for your most vulnerable moments. The Stoic response: use type 2, the clean break. Execute it with behavior, not words. Give no explanation that can be argued with. Write your one-sentence reason. Read it every time the pull arrives. The narcissist needs your engagement to maintain the dynamic. Remove the engagement. The dynamic collapses. Scenario 2: walking away from a toxic friendship. The specific challenge: you have shared history. You have been through things together. Walking away feels like rewriting your past. The Stoic response: use type 1, gradual reduction. Reduce emotional investments slowly and consistently. Stop initiating. Respond less. Share less. The friendship naturally contracts to its actual level. No confrontation needed. No explanation required. Scenario 3: walking away from a toxic family member. The specific challenge: you cannot fully walk away. Family structures, events, obligations, they keep bringing you back into contact. The Stoic response: use type 3, Stoic presence. Master the art of being physically present without being emotionally accessible. Functional responses only. No personal sharing. No emotional engagement. The family obligation is fulfilled. The inner world is protected. Scenario 4: walking away from a toxic workplace relationship. The specific challenge: your livelihood is connected to this person. You cannot simply leave without consequences. The Stoic response: the gradual reduction, combined with the Stoic presence during necessary interactions. Simultaneously, and this is the critical addition, begin building the exit quietly. Not dramatically. Not with announcements. Simply building the door. Marcus Aurelius always had an alternative before he closed the current option. Scenario 5: walking away from a version of yourself. This is the scenario nobody talks about. Sometimes the toxic relationship is not with another person. It is with a version of yourself, the version that tolerates mistreatment, the version that people pleases, the version that stays long after the reason to stay is gone. Walking away from that version requires all 7 steps. Applied to yourself. Decide with your behavior. Grieve the version fully. Identify your re-entry points, the habits and patterns that pull you back into that version. Replace the space with something aligned with your values. And return to yourself. To the version that does not need to be treated well by others because it treats itself well first. That is the deepest walk away of all. Part 7. The permission you have been waiting for someone to give you. I want to speak directly to the person who has been watching this video and recognizing themselves in every scenario. The person who has known for months, maybe years, that they need to walk away. The person who has stayed not because it is good for them, but because leaving felt selfish. Because they were taught that love means endurance. That loyalty means staying regardless of the cost. That walking away makes you someone who gives up. Marcus Aurelius spent his life being trained in Stoic philosophy by some of the greatest minds in Roman history. And the consistent teaching across all of them was this: you cannot give what you do not have. You cannot offer genuine connection from a place of depletion. You cannot love someone well when you are being destroyed by the relationship. You cannot be the person you are capable of being for anyone while you are slowly disappearing into a dynamic that does not see you. Walking away is not giving up. Walking away is the recognition that you have value beyond this relationship. That your peace matters. That your energy is not infinitely renewable. That the version of you that exists on the other side of this free, clear, return to yourself has more to offer the world than the version of you that stayed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, in one of the final pages of the Meditations, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The outside event is the relationship. The toxic person. The situation you cannot change. The mind is yours. And the decision to walk away, to return to yourself, to choose the life that is actually available to you over the one you have been trying to salvage. That decision is yours too. You do not need their permission to leave. You do not need their understanding. You do not even need their acknowledgement that what they did was wrong. You need only one thing: your own decision. Made once. Honored daily. Until the distance between who you are and what that relationship was demanding of you becomes large enough that you can breathe again. That distance is waiting for you. Walk toward it. The complete Stoic art of walking away. The real reason you cannot leave, you are attached to the version, not the person. Grieve the version first. Guilt is manufactured. It is not yours. The Stoic test: am I leaving to harm or to protect? 3 types: gradual reduction, clean break, Stoic presence. Use the right one. 7 steps: decide with behavior, accept they will not understand, close re-entry points, grieve before you leave, replace the space intentionally, expect the pull, return to yourself as the destination. Walking away is not a departure. It is a return to yourself, to your values, to the life you have been postponing. 5 scenarios: narcissist, toxic friend, toxic family, toxic workplace, toxic version of yourself. The permission: you do not need their permission to leave. You need only your own decision. Marcus Aurelius walked away. Quietly. Completely. Without guilt. And every time he did, he returned to the work that mattered. To the people who deserved him. To the version of himself that could actually lead, love, and think clearly. That is available to you. Not when you feel ready. You will never feel ready. Not when the guilt is gone. The guilt leaves when you leave, not before. Now. If this gave you something real, share it with someone who has been trying to find the door for a long time. This might be the key they needed. Subscribe to Memento Sapiens. Every week, ancient wisdom for the life you are actually living. Remember to be wise. Memento Sapiens.